Hey, welcome back to the channel. I thought I'd give another update on the Mustang Ecoboost. Got an interesting update. Alright, so this week was a little different. I was driving down the interstate and on my way home from work at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I ran across something huge in the road. I don't know if it was a 4x4 or a big piece of metal or what, but when I came across it, I hit it with two wheels and dented both my wheels and busted a tire. So the Mustang is down. This wheel's dented also. The other one's dented really bad. I took it to a shop to get it repaired, but it's beyond repair. So I ordered a couple new wheels and they'll be in tomorrow. Decided to go with some 19 by 10s instead of these 19 by 8.5s. That way I can put some 295s on the back, get a little more meat on it. These 255s don't hook up very well when I'm racing, so we'll get a little more meat under the back and go from there. The other update is I'm getting ready to replace this stock intercooler. Stock intercooler is very tiny. It's right down here. It's up inside there. There are actually some shutters in there. It's got to come out. So the whole front bumper facial is going to be coming off. That way I can access the stock intercooler and get it changed out. We'll be working on that today. What I went with was a CVFab race intercooler, so we'll go with it right here. This thing is about, I don't know, 3 or 4 times larger than the stock intercooler. This bad boy it's huge compared to the stock one. It's cast metal or cast aluminum, really thick, and it will go behind the grill and take up a lot of the space, so it'll get a lot of cooling from the front. I may change out that lower grill to one that's more open so I can get more air across it and get the IATs down. Another thing I'm going to probably do is do some modifications to this part of the grill. Maybe cut those out some, get a little more air in, because that's where the stock air intake comes in. And it is a cold air intake, and it draws air from around the sides. So I'm probably going to open it up so I can get a more of a ram air type effect going with that. But I'll get started on this, and you'll see. We'll get the old one out and compare it and see how it goes. All right, to get started on this, we're going to remove this top cover. Pull this one off, and we're going to remove the bottom cover under here. There's a bunch of 8mm bolts under here, and there's a couple bolts that are back in here, so we got to pull this down and get to these screws right back here. And once we get to those, we'll see where we're at, and then it should pop up, and we've got to unhook all the lights. Then we'll get started on that and we'll get back to you. Alright, so I got the top cover off, got all the screws out up here. So you actually had 8mm on top, 7mm on bottom, and these little babies on the end are 5.5mm or 7/32, either one will work. I wanted to show you real quick the screws that hold this together. You're able to get to them by pulling back your inner fender here, and let's see, maybe it'll focus. right there, 2 nuts right there on top. You take those off. Let's see, and it should come right off. Just got this other one left to pull it off. There it is right there. And it separates down. I'm gonna use 2 hands to do that, but I got this side over here pulled back. Pulls straight down. There is a plastic piece right here that kind of grabs on and bites. So once you do that, the bumper will be ready to lift off, and it'll pretty much just pull straight off and unhook the lights. So I'm gonna get this side unhooked, lift that bumper off, unhook my lights, and then I'll show you what's underneath. Alright, so the bumper face was just lifted right off. Just had to unhook both of the light assemblies, blinkers. Alright, so here's those active shutters I was talking about. These are actually servo driven. There's a servo motor back behind here that hooks up to the car, and on a cold day they close up so it'll heat up a little faster. But I'm in Arkansas most of the time. It's hot, which is why I'm upgrading this intercooler. So these this has got to come out. All this has got to come out so that the intercooler will fit back behind there. So once we do that, we can start installing the intercooler. Well, we got to take the old intercooler out. This is where the factory air intake is. So it goes right in here, and I'm going to open this up just a little bit on the grill to get a little more air into there. I know it may not help much, but I'm going to try it out and see what it does. So I'll get this apart and I'll show you that servo motor and what we're going to do with that. Alright, so we got the air shutters off of here, and what I realized was this was what worked great best for me for getting this off, because it's kind of tricky to get off, is you do got to take these 2 little screws here out, and you can reach those from the top. Those are the same 5.5 millimeter as the ones on the upper part of the grill. This actually pops loose from here. You can pop it loose down here on the bottom. And from the front, what I done was I just took a screwdriver from the front right here, and so I went in. Let me see, can I hold this and show you what I done. I went in from the sides and just popped each one of those out. When I done that, it allowed this to fall off, and that gave me let the servo motor come right out. So here's the servo motor. This has to stay on. If you don't, if you unhook this servo motor, it's going to throw a code for the air shutter. So you just take this and you'll zip tie it up around this harness, and just zip tie it here, and that's out of the way. And let's see, well, we'll figure it out. Well, I think that's where you're going to put it, somewhere up around here. But I got to get the old intercooler off, which is right here. That's it, from here to here. That's your small intercooler, and it's not very thick compared to the new one. So we got to get this intercooler off, and this front support's going to come off so that we can get the new intercooler up in here, because it's going to actually come all the way up to here. Once we get we'll get this off and start taking the old intercooler off. We got to unhook the charge pipes, and I am not upgrading the charge pipes at this time. So there is a trick to putting the old couplings onto the new intercooler, because the new intercooler actually has larger inlets, and so the couplings will have to make a few small cuts in the couplings to get it to expand bigger so we can put the clamps on it. So when we get to that, I'll show you that. But anyway, we're going to get this pulled off and start pulling this intercooler off. Alright, we got the stock intercooler out, and here's what the stock one looks like. Got to pull my map sensor out, put it in a new one. But yep, there's how big the stock one is, and here's the upgrade. And that is a CVFab race intercooler. The main reason I'm swapping it out, because I am going to be doing some tuning on the car, and intercooler upgrades a must. This stock intercooler, after about 1, maybe 2 pulls, is heat soaked, and your IAT start climbing and you start losing power. So this ought to offer a substantial drop in IAT temps so that I can make back-to-back passes without having to worry about heat soak. The inlet size on these, it's a little bit bigger, not a whole lot, it's a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to do is on the factory couplers here, which is right here, I'm going to take a razor blade and make some very small cuts, and that should allow me enough room. And I've got some vacuum grease I can put on there to help slide it up in there, and once I can tighten the clamps down, it'll still bite just fine. I may change those clamps out too, I'm not sure. Anyway, there's where we're at. We'll get this see, can we get this mounted in there, and I'll get another picture of what it looks like. I'll come back and do some more, show you some more of what it looks like with the intercooler up here, and where we're going to put the wiring harness and mount that servo. Alright, right here I'm going to show you the struggle of trying to put the stock your couplers, charge pipe couplers on this CVFab. So they don't want to go on there because it's it's a little bit bigger. So what we're going to do is, I've already cut a few small spots in this rubber, so I'm going to add another one. You don't want to go real deep, just a little bit, just enough to get it to expand a little more. Then we may be able to get it to pull down on there. There it goes. Coupler is below that lip. Get it just about 1/8 of an inch more. Yep, I believe that may work. Let's see, I'll get my nut driver on this to tighten it up. I want to get the outside on just a little bit more. Pull that down here. Yeah, I believe that may be it. Make sure that your clamp is below that locking lip. It's on the intercooler. Get this tightened up just a little. There we go. Just like that. So what I'll do, I'll get a nut driver and get that tightened up, and we'll repeat the process for this side over here. Get that on there, get it tightened up, and then we'll take a look at it from the front. Alright, I got both couplers hooked up. Charge pipes are hooked up now. What I did was, on the passenger side, I did unhook it from the turbo and popped it out. That way I'd have room to work with it underneath. And I also learned that when you're putting them on, when you're hooking these up, you can't bottom those all the way out. If you bottom that all the way to the bottom, you won't get it back on the turbo because it's just not quite long enough. So I've got it, the clamp is below the locking lip that's on the intercooler itself, and it's sealed off good. So that's on there good. This one's on there good. They're all tightened up. And now I'll show you what it looks like from the front. There it is. What a huge improvement there. So the stock intercooler stops right about here. It's only this big. This one goes all the way up. It includes all the hardware you need. Includes the rubber mounts for these. You got rubber mounts here. Hooks up to the stock bolts right here. You have to take those bolts out. Hook it up. Those are 13mm. These nuts are 10mm. And looks like we'll just have to tie up. We may be able to hide this behind on the bottom. Yeah, we'll probably hide it on the bottom side below this crash bar. And you'll never even see that from the top. You won't see the wiring. All you'll see when you look through is you'll see the intercooler. But we'll start putting it back together and I'll get back with you. Alright, we got it all back together. It looks like you can see that new intercooler in there. Comes almost to the top of the radiator. Went ahead and drilled a few holes right here. That is the air intake right there. So it draws the cold air in right there at the front of the grill. Kind of a little ram air. It actually gets a lot of air from right here, so a little ram air effect. But new intercooler's installed. Now I just need to swap out the downpipe, throw the cob access port on here and get it tuned. And then we'll go from there. But that little tip that I had on the couplers for that intercooler, I got that tip from Adam Brunson with Tune Plus. He said that you could do that to those couplings to get them to fit on their stock intercooler, and it worked. They don't fit the best, but they're on there and they're sealed, and I've already started the car. Let it run. Let's see. Let's try it again. Oh yeah. As far as exhaust on this car, the only thing I still have done to it is resonator delete only. So it's still got the stock exhaust, and it's quiet. Resonator delete don't really do anything to it, other than it knocks about 25 pounds off the car, because that resonator is super heavy, and it is a big restriction. It creates a lot of heat inside the resonator, so it's free flowing now, a little better. I do have some Flowmaster mufflers and 4-inch tips to go on here, and I'll get those put on soon. So anyway, until the next time, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe, hit that like button. Thanks.